What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 90s First Podcasting Network. My name is Mike, and alongside my co-host Joe, we take a look at some 90s content that we just can't stop watching. Join us on our flagship show, the 90s First Show. We look at some 90s content that Joe and I are watching, as well as some current stuff, and we end it with a 90s trivia contest. Or join us on Test Your Might, a video game debate show where we battle it out on the current news. Joe hosts as our good buddy Cicero and I try to get the high ground and go 1000 IQ against each other. If you would like to connect with us, we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the 90s First. And finally, if you would like to support us monetarily, we have a Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/the90sfirst to show general support for as little as $1 a month. So whether you're listening to the 90s First Show or Test Your Might, Joe and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope that you have a blessed day. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Test Your Might, the #1 video game debate show. That's because I don't know of any others. So I'm here as always. I'm in the hosting chair once again this week. Jelly had to take another week off. No worries. But I'm ready to witness another battle. Another battle of the century. We're talking to Cicero Holmes. As always, he's here. The Mafia Lord himself. The Gabagool of Test Your Might.
Say hi to your mother for me.
And we also have returning to battle one of his best friends. We have Shareef Jackson of ShareefJackson.com. How you doing, Shareef?
It's actually ShareefJackson.com of Shareef Jackson, but I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Dang it.
And yes, I am here to battle my best friend. You only truly know who your friends are after you face them in battle. You know?
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, right?
Right. and your better friends even closer than that.
Yeah.
So you can use their weaknesses against them.
Well, listeners, thanks again for joining us. Once again, we are, as always, a video game debate show, and we're with the 90s First Podcasting Network. That's something that me and Jelly started. So we have Test Your Might as well as the 90s First Show. A new episode of that just went live as well, if you're listening to this on Tuesday when this comes out. So go ahead and check that out if you want. We are at the 90s First on all social networks, as well as if you'd like to check us out on Patreon for general support, we are at the 90s First there as well. So, guys, you ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, my goodness, I forgot. Leave us a review. I always forget. Leave us a review, please. We're trying to squeeze our way into the podcasting algorithm because we like you guys and we want people to listen. So anyway, leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, rating, anything. Would really appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. We are continuing our series for Question of the Day. And so, Cicero, we're going to start your way first.
Okay.
We are going the favorite game from each generation on each console. And so we're going to start with you. We're on to the Xbox 360, PS3, and Nintendo Wii era. So what do you got, man? Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii. What were your favorite games?
So I'm going to do Wii first because that was the one that I had the least experience with. Mm-hmm. And for that series, I'm going to go with the one that kicked it all off with Wii Sports. That was probably the game that I spent the most time with on the Wii. And it was the game that I think most people spent the most time with on the Wii. Mm-hmm. Very high attach rate. Almost 100% with
true.
Wii and Wii Sports.
Almost.
He's spitting facts, man.
Almost.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
Were you snatching some copies out of there to make that almost?
Right. I did work at GameStop. So right around that time.
Oh, somebody got their Wii without a copy of Wii Sports. Well, the Mafia Lord has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Allegedly.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna skip to the 360 next, because it was probably the console that I spent the most time with out of this generation. So there were lots of great experiences. It was a great console, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the game that really cemented it for me on that platform was the original Mass Effect. That Mass Effect game was, it was Mass Effect. Duh. And for the PS3, I got to this game late in the console generation, but man, it was really good, and it helped me to see. At least I saw the DNA in this game that we'll talk about probably in the game that we'll probably talk about next week. That was my game of the generation of the PS4 generation, and that is Marvel Spider-Man in Infamous. The original Infamous was probably my favorite PS3 game.
Okay.
Even more than Infamous 2.
Gotcha. Well, Shareef, I'm gonna segue right in because Infamous is also my PS3 choice.
Nice.
It was hard between Infamous and God of War 3. I really enjoyed God of War 3. Like I was saying last week on our episode, that the final boss fight was one of the best that I enjoyed against Zeus. So, but Infamous squeaked it out. I love the traversal. I love the superpowers. I've talked at length about how much I enjoyed Infamous. Nintendo Wii has to be Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Dude, I played the most Smash Bros on Wii in Brawl. I would just play it day in and day out with my friends. The annoying thing is that we had to fight and take turns with the Wiimote because nobody wanted the Wiimote. Everybody wanted the GameCube controllers, but nobody wanted the Wiimote and the nunchucks. But we got used to it every once in a while. But yeah, I had some of the best times ever gaming with my friends on Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Xbox 360 really was the start of a couple of franchises that I absolutely adore. But I have to probably go with Arkham City as my number one Xbox 360 game. And again, that was a close call between the reboot of Tomb Raider as well. Tomb Raider 2013 is one of my favorite games of all time, but Arkham City edges it out. So, Shareef, it's all you, man.
All right, let's start with Xbox. The game that keeps going, the game that is still being updated, the game that is still on top of charts. Multi-platform, but where I played it was the 360 GTA 5. When I played this game,
great one.
To me, I've still not seen a game try to do what they did, which is this simultaneous control of characters. Like, I thought that was going to launch. I thought everybody was going to try to copy that portion of it. It worked so seamlessly. Like, the characters were doing other things.
Great.
When you went to them, it felt like this living, breathing world. I love that game so much, especially because I wasn't a big fan of 4. I thought that the kind of more realistic take of 4 kind of turned me off when a GTA to me is always a little more of a parody, a little more goofy. 5 for sure. For the PS3, I got PS3 really late. But one of the reasons I got it was Last of Us. I kept hearing so much about this game. I love Naughty Dog. I think the game, it came out. I think a lot of people associate it more with the PS4 because they had that remastered version at the beginning. But man, when I first played that game on the PS3, I was blown away, even though, it was 30 frames a second, it wasn't as smooth or whatever. But man, that game's incredible. And for the Wii, I think Wii Sports is a pretty obvious choice. That's like the most memorable, I guess. But for me personally, Metroid Prime Corruption, so Metroid Prime 3.
Okay.
It's a game that I feel like a lot of people, it tends to get like a lot of trash on it. But I thought that having like the first person shooting with the Wiimote and like moving with the nunchuck, I thought worked like really well. And just having that, it just felt good. Like the music was outstanding. It's on my video game soundtrack list that I listen to. It was just a really, really great and like immersive game. And if I could cheat, I would probably say the Metroid Prime, like the trilogy, which is all three of them. But like I'll just go with that Corruption. Very, very cool game.
Sounds good. Well, Shareef, why don't you just transfer right into what have you been playing?
Ooh, man. So as Cicero said last episode, Outriders.
Hey, you listened.
Has definitely been high on my list, which is weird because I stepped away for a while because I was one of the people that got hit with that inventory wipe bug where I couldn't log in with my character.
Yeah,
and do anything.
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, I saw
so I
I
stepped away for like a week and a half, and then when they released a patch that said they fixed it from happening from then on, I said, all right, I'll start up a new character. I'll skip all the side quests and just go through. I usually hate playing through the story twice that soon, right? Because I just played through it once. But I also watched some streams of people playing with the Trickster class, and I was like, I really want to try that out. So I've just been logging in and just playing through the campaign. That Trickster completely changes the way the game is from the pyro. It feels almost like a whole new game with like being able to like teleport and like do all this other stuff and like slow people down. So it really does feel like a different game. So I've been playing Outriders for sure. The most recent game I've been playing though is Returnal, which just came out for the PS5 a couple days ago. Like Metroid Prime, it's like you're kind of like you're by yourself. You're in this like really creepy planet. It is sort of, I think the narrative behind it is this Dark Soulish because it is sort of a roguelite that you go through and you die, you lose loot, and you respawn at like a crash site. But it is way, way, way more accessible than Dark Souls. Way more accessible. I mean, I died twice, but I made it like I died twice in 2 hours. When I first played Dark Souls, like I died like the intro part where they're teaching you what to do. I died like maybe 5 times in the first 15 minutes, So,
oh my goodness.
So like I don't know how rough the difficulty scales, but I think it's definitely enough to get you in there, and like they give you a bit of a fighting chance, But so far I'm really impressed with the visuals. I wish. Like, this is one of those big budget games for the PS5, and I feel like, at least from the beginning, it does not use that controller, man, like the way that I want it to be used. Like, Astro opened up all those opportunities of, like, I was like, man, at the very least, like, the big budget Sony-only games are going to use this to its full potential. And after 2 hours, maybe it does later, but I don't really see it using that, like, haptic feedback as well. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but phenomenal game. And I've been playing a game that I am in. I was uploaded into the cloud and inserted in this game called Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. It's a D&D game. And my D&D character Shaka is live in there as of Wednesday. So I've been playing a bunch of that as well. I would say playing with myself, but I know that both you are immature. So I won't say that.
Right.
I'm not.
But
that's Cicero.
But I was playing with myself for several hours, and it felt very good.
That's awesome. We got a famous person on the podcast. He's a video game.
I was shooting those Eldritch blasts after playing with myself. It was,
oh my gosh,
it was very great. But no,
he called us the inappropriate ones.
No, it's a really cool. It's like it's a free to play on everything, cool. And you just put together a D&D party. You smash the monsters, and it's really nuts to see my character in there. I mean, like Cicero was in the room when I like created this character like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
so it's pretty nuts to see.
It's bananas
in a game now.
Bananas.
Well, speaking of Cicero, what have you been playing? Is it more Outriders?
I've been like look, me and my boo, we do what we do. We don't need y'all just hating on our love. I want to say to everyone that I think, we've done all the tricks. Me and my boo Outriders. So we've got to figure out a way to reinvigorate things. We can go in. I've now gotten to World Tier 15. I haven't gotten to the end game level 15, CT 15 yet, but I can. Right now I'm doing a bunch of farming to get legendaries and get better rolls and that thing that you do when you reach the end game. But I'm not at the point where I still have to like consistently go in there every day to play the game and make my character better. But I am, I'm still playing just about every day. But been playing a little bit more MLB The Show. I've been playing some competitive games. I had a really fun game with my buddy yesterday where I scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th.
Wow.
To tie the game and send it to extra innings, and lost in extra innings. But it was a fun game to play. They do some really great things for multiplayer in that game, but then they also do some really terrible things with multiplayer in that game. Road to the Show is very different than it had been previously. I will caution from saying that it's broken right now.
Okay.
Let's see. They have come out with a couple of patches. But what I will say is that I have thus far been dismayed with how Road to the Show works as compared to previous iterations of the game. But I mean, at least right now I'm still having fun with it. I still haven't played it on the PlayStation 4 yet to see what the differences between the PS4 Pro and the Xbox Series X are, and I haven't used like the Stadium Creator or any of those things, but looking forward to doing those.
Yeah, awesome. I unfortunately have not gotten a lot of video game time this past week, so I did dive into Apex a little bit to kind of get prepared for Season 9. Season 9 is coming Tuesday, so really excited for the new game mode, which is kind of like a CSGO Valorant, but it's 2 teams of 3 just battling against each other, and you earn like credits basically to buy different guns, buy different loadouts and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's on a smaller map.
Wow.
And also there are no respawns, but there are revives. So just like Apex, if you go down, you can be revived. So I'm really, really looking forward to that arena mode. Me being Apex since day one, so we're talking 2 years now, no, 3 years now, because 2018 I think, 2019, 2 years. It's been, I need a change of pace. I just need a change of pace, and I'm hoping that this arena kind of reinvigorates me into Apex, which is
really. So you feel burnt out after 2 years?
It might be 3 years if I'm thinking about it now.
I mean, I don't know how heavy that you've been going.
I've been playing since day one. Battle pass every time, high level in the battle pass every time. Like I don't finish every single one, but I get to at least the 90s or lower 100s, and it goes to 110. Wow. So I'm just huge in Apex. That's what me and the buddies play, but man, I go through these spells where it's just like, oh man, the R99 is just wiping me out in one clip. I'm just kind of done. Like everybody's a god at the game, and I'm not. So I just want to play different games. So I'm hoping this arena just reinvigorates my love for the game. So other than that, I've been playing Monster Sanctuary still. So again, this is a 2D platformer that is basically Pokemon and Final Fantasy mixed together. So you hatch monsters in this, but you have a team of 6 monsters, just like Pokemon. And I've been, I think I shared this last week, but I've been naming the monsters in their Pokemon names from Gen 1 and 2. So that just adds another wrinkle of of my love for this game so far. So Monster Sanctuary, it's beautiful. It's on Game Pass. Definitely check it out. Turn-based like Final Fantasy Pokemon game. It's basically how I could describe it. So that's all I've been playing. So, gentlemen, it's time to hit up the news. First on the docket here is EA. Now we know this to be true because it's been around video game circles for a while, but EA has continued its struggle to have kind of a bad reputation, and it has taken another hit. So this past week, a leaked document revealed that and I'm quoting, all roads lead to FUT, which is FIFA Ultimate Team. And this is confirmed by FIFA fans. Everybody knows, it seems, that EA is trying to funnel people into their Madden Ultimate Teams, their card collecting, their FIFA Ultimate Teams and stuff like that. And EA, I'm reading straight from IGN's article by Kat Bailey back on the 26th of April. It says, EA publicly stated, "We do not push people to spend in our games," and that was their retort to this leaked thing. So it says also here, and I quote, "Players will be actively incentivized to convert throughout the summer. All roads lead to FUT," which is FIFA Ultimate Team. So EA is insisting that they're not trying to bring people to their card collecting microtransaction money scheme, but it seems like the evidence is pointing against them. What are your guys' thoughts? We'll start with you, Shareef. What are your thoughts on EA as a whole? Like, how do you think they could get out of this like stigma that they have? Like, what are your thoughts on this article as we read it?
Well, the first thing, what I think of them as a whole, I'm not a big hater on EA, man. I think they do what they do. Like they make great games. Not every game is a hit. As of late, like the past couple of years, they've really been investing in a lot of indie games like Unravel and such, right? To make sure that these games have a home and that they have budget and that they're on a lot of platforms. But I don't think they'll ever get rid of that stigma. I mean, they are one of those 500-pound gorillas, and people are always gonna want to see those 500-pound gorillas go down, and they have done crappy things in the past, especially with microtransactions and like such. So they do have some bad marks that that will always rub people the wrong way. But so I don't think they can ever shake it. It doesn't matter how much good they do or how many games they make. I mean, 2K is usually like rated well, but people hate on it for like the micro transactions, but they have their hands on a lot of what like I would consider great games, and like I think that they scored a big PR win with putting EA Play on Game Pass, so I don't know, if you look through that EA Play, that like library, you'll see a lot of games like, oh man, I forgot Dead Space and Mass Effect and and like A Way Out and all these games. Like they have, I feel like they've done a net good for the industry. And I think with FIFA now, I'm not a FIFA player, but I do know that FIFA is, even though it might not be popular in the US, is like hugely popular internationally. Like we can't even conceive how popular it is, because soccer is, most popular. But not that, I don't know, man. Like, to me, like, they're always going to do this with FIFA. Like, people, I think, if you're playing those kind of games, you are almost used to, if you want to engage in that part, you pay for it. Like, if you want to do the Ultimate Team in, like, any of their games, you always have the option not to do it. So I don't want to say I'm on their side with this, but I kind of don't see much to really get worried about with it.
Cicero.
So for those people who aren't aware, the original Ultimate Team was FUT. The original Ultimate Team came with FIFA because it was their largest game. And what they realized, I don't know who the person was that came into the meeting that first time and was like, hey, we should do this card collecting thing and put that in the game. But whoever that person is probably, if they were compensated fairly, they're one of the principals of EA now, at least of EA Sports, because it, like a virus, has infected all aspects of all of their sports titles, and not only has it done that, but it's infected all aspects of all of the other major sports titles as well. These card buying, these card collecting, team building aspects of the games, and they're the most profitable, right? And I'm not going to cast aspersions at a company for doing something that makes them money, because you're under no obligation to play these modes. You're under no obligation to spend the money. But having said that, it is incredibly disingenuous of EA to say something like, we don't force people to spend money on these modes. They don't force people to spend money on those modes. They are correct in that respect, but to say that they heavily incentivize people to spend money in these modes is an understatement. This is the way they make money. This is what they do. And, in the case of EA, they will neglect other aspects of their games to focus on how they can figure out ways to incentivize people to spend more money in those modes without chasing them away. And part of my issue now, 2K has gone and become very, very bad about this, because not only are you doing it in the card collecting mode, but you're spending VC, your virtual currency, on all aspects of the game, and in places where it doesn't even make sense. Yeah. But they're still trying to incentivize you to spend more money with them. And now MLB The Show is doing the exact same thing, with marrying this weird marriage of the Road to the Show mode and their Diamond Dynasty mode, which is their card collecting mode. So all of these companies, and we really downplay the work that it takes and the money that it takes to continue to produce these games year after year. So I don't begrudge them trying to make money. I do kind of have a problem sometimes with when they wind up taking those modes and encroaching on these other modes that were completely separated from this income generating mode that they built.
And I want to speak to that in terms of Madden as well, because I haven't been really in the Madden community recently, but I have been before, and that's the biggest issue with at least the Madden community, is that they've been wanting franchise mode to be good again, right. And they just refuse to really do anything positive for that mode and for other aspects of the game, because they are so focused on MUT, because it is their money maker, it is their cash grabber, it is what's making EA billions of dollars, like both in Madden and FIFA. And right. To Shareef's point, we can't, they're not going to stop. Why would they? They're a business. Right. They're making billions of dollars. They're not going to stop. But yeah, I think the biggest issue is what you mentioned, Cicero, in my mind, is that they are neglecting, and as well as, like you pointed out, bringing the money-making aspects into the other portions of the game, which I don't know. That's something that seems a little sketchy. So
right. Yeah.
But I do agree, Shareef, too, that EA has made some great games. I mean, you think of we're going to talk about this here in a second, because I think that maybe one of you will mention it, but we're talking the Mass Effect trilogy being remastered coming up in May here. Yeah. They make fantastic games as well. So
yeah.
All right, I think that conversation leads us straight into our most anticipated game of May. I thought I'd put this in the news section just to kind of get some hype up for some of the games that are coming out. Cicero, we'll start with you, man. What's your most anticipated game for May?
Man, I don't know, because the games that I thought were coming out in May probably are going to get delayed. Like, I don't think the Mass Effect trilogy is going to be out in May. But actually, you know what? I take all that stuff back. I do know what my most anticipated game for May is, and that is Elite Dangerous Odyssey DLC. That is releasing, I want to say May 19th, but it is releasing in May. That will allow us to walk around space stations and walk on planets.
In VR.
Planets with atmosphere. Not in VR.
Oh,
not in VR, at least not yet.
Dang.
But just the ability to walk around planets. So one thing that makes VR great for Elite Dangerous, and it is spectacular playing Elite Dangerous in VR, is that you get a sense of scale in VR that you just don't get when you're playing it on the screen, even as incredible as it looks. The sense of scale of just how massive these ships are is just it's humbling. And with Odyssey, you're going to have the ability to have that brought to you in the non-VR space, because you'll be able to walk. You won't be able to see yourself entering the ship, but you'll be able to walk onto your hangar with your ship, and you will see your ship that fits on small, on small landing pads that you think of as just a tiny ship, and you standing next to it, you really get a sense of just how grand everything is in this game. So that is my most anticipated game of May.
Shareef, what's your most anticipated game of May?
I mean, Mass Effect for sure, but I also want to throw in Resident Evil. So Resident Evil Village is coming out, in a couple days. I played the Maiden demo. I played a little bit of that Time demo. I don't know why they made this like demo only available for 8
that was
hours
interesting,
which is kind of weird. But I played a little bit of that. I loved Resident Evil 7, and I haven't loved a Resident Evil game since 4. Like, I had thought 5 was okay. I thought 6 was awful. But exactly. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I played Resident Evil on the GameCube, the Wii, and the PC, like all the way through.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just a fantastic game that still holds up. But Village, I mean, 7 was great. I think this one is also going to be great. It's like a direct sequel, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they evolve, like that world. So I'm not looking forward to that as much as Mass Effect, but if we're talking about strictly new games, like Resident Evil for sure is.
I'll agree with you. I've never played the Mass Effect trilogy, so I'm actually really excited for that. But let's pick a new one. I'm looking forward to Biomutant. Have you guys looked into that a little bit?
No.
I'm not familiar with Biomutant.
Yeah, so basically you could choose a faction, you could choose a character, and you are a mutant that has martial arts as well as gunplay abilities. And so it's kind of got this like Breath of the Wild type feel to it, but your weapons don't break, which I enjoy.
Your favorite.
So, but it has a martial arts feel, and Cicero knows this because we've texted about it enough. I'm in a martial arts kick right now. Warrior was amazing. Mortal Kombat was fun.
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. Just all this stuff. So Biomutant looks pretty fun. It has some similar like jumpy combat. It looks like to like the Arkham series or even Spider-Man from PS4. So, I'm looking forward to Biomutant. And yeah, I'm hoping that it's good. I'm really hoping. It's been teased for a while, so it's definitely one that's been on my radar for a little bit. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for rapid fire, our most rapidest section of all the rapid. We're going fast. All right.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Shareef, we'll start with you. A golden Wii designed for Queen Elizabeth is up for sale on eBay for $300,000. Are you pulling out the BAT credit card?
It depends on what's golden. Are we just talking about the case? Like, is every individual component, resistor, capacitor, in there golden? Is the motherboard golden? Like, if it's just the outside, no. But if we're talking about, I open that thing up and every little piece is golden. The buttons on the Wiimote are golden. Like the slot inside, it takes golden discs inside of it. Then I'm good. Then I'm pulling out the card. But I have a feeling this is just the outside. I'm not pulling out the card for that.
All right, sounds good. I do not have a BAT credit card, so nor am I. Cicero, you've played around with Google Stadia for a little bit, and
I have.
Do you know who owns Google Stadia?
It sounds like it's in the name. But,
it's Google,
not Jeff Bezos.
It's Google, the biggest search engine in the world, and Google Stadia just got a search bar. Thoughts?
Listen, man, don't get me started on how ridiculous Stadia is, and not only how it would take a Knicks fan to have been to still remain a Stadia Pro member since launch, right? I am still a Stadia Pro member. I barely use it, but I do have it, and listen, they understand tech. They don't understand games, and it is the most Google thing ever to not combine their different disparate portions of their company that are connected or should be connected, and not connect them till years later, 2 days before they cancel it. And that's what I think is happening right here is that we're getting search right before they cancel the service.
2 days before we get search bar by Google. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, tip your hats.
Yes, at least it's not powered by Bing.
Yeah, right.
Which is
Shareef, PlayStation is getting Among Us soon on both PS4 and PS5 with some special Ratchet and Clank DLC. You gonna get that DLC? Are you going to play Among Us on the PS5?
If it's paid, I'm definitely not getting it. I mean, if it's free, it's a game that, oh God, I just said that Cicero line, Jesus.
It's a game.
But no, it's like Among Us I feel like it doesn't really need visuals or outfits or whatever. So to me, that doesn't really, it's a cool little bonus, but to me, it's like having a thing in Fall Guys. Like, I don't really care what my Fall Guys person looks like. I just want to play the game. So I wouldn't pay for it, but if it's in there, sure, yeah, I'll try them out.
Well, there you go. Well, speaking of Fall Guys has gotten delayed on Switch and Xbox, but Cicero, it will now arrive with crossplay out the gate. Thoughts on that?
When it finally arrives, will anybody be around to play it? It's great that it'll be there, but Fall Guys was last year's thing, right? Is anybody still playing Fall Guys on the PS4? I mean,
yes.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are.
Yes,
yeah.
Really, still?
It's still a big game.
I think it's still pretty popular.
All right, well then, then maybe people will play it. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I'll probably play it for about 10, 15 minutes because it's fun. But then, who cares?
All right. Well, that's been Rapid Fire. You guys did it rapidly. Good job.
That's what we do.
That's how we do it. I can't believe Google Stadia just got a search bar. That's just so wild. Anyway, it's time for Test Your Might, the flagship segment of the Test Your Might show.
Test your might.
These guys are going to duke it out. You guys ready? You got your dukes up?
Yeah, the Mortal Kombat movie just dropped. Let's test our might.
Yeah.
And they said it in the movie, too. I was very happy with it.
They did, yeah.
That's right, yes.
Let's cue the Rocky and Drago montages here. All right. All right, guys. Speaking of Resident Evil, as Shareef mentioned earlier, Resident Evil Village could have skipped the PS4 and Xbox One entirely. So they obviously aren't. So the debate is, should they have, or did they make the right call? So one of you got to take one of those stances. The other's got to take the other. So should they have, or did they make the right call? And Shareef, you're our guest for here, so we'll go your way first.
They absolutely should be to the PS4 and the Xbox One. Nobody can find a PS5 and a Series X or S. They're still in very short supply. So why would Capcom want to release a unique thing for a major franchise that's been going on for years and only have it available to a subset of folks? So I think they made the right call to keep these on last gen consoles, because for the majority of people, these are current gen because they can't get anything else.
Cicero, your rebuttal.
Well, look, do you want old and busted, or you want the new hotness, right? And that's the thing. New hotness is out, and you can't allow things to be the hottest and the newest that it could possibly be. It can't achieve its ultimate hotness if it's got to be visible by people with old school glasses. If you got last gen's glasses and you want people to be able to see you, then you can't be as hot and crisp and as resolute as you want to be. And that is a problem, right? Like, you got this next gen Resident Evil to bring in the next gen, and it can't be its next geniest. That's garbage. That's garbage.
Shareef, rebuttal, or are you just going to laugh at the word geniest?
Next geniest is, your point would be valid if you could find a system. If people could find a system and they were like, look, if you want the new hotness, then go get it. But you can't get it. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're going to pay a scalper, or unless you're going to meet some seedy Craigslist dude in an alley, to pay $2,000 for a PS5, your argument would be valid if you could get it, but you can't get it. So why should Capcom prevent themselves from all that revenue and sales by just targeting the haves? I'm about the have-nots as well,
I'm gonna break protocol a little bit. Say, Mike, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you have a next gen console? Do you have a current gen console?
I got to be honest, I do.
All right. Shareef, do you have a current gen console?
I have both.
At least one.
I have both of them.
Yeah. and Cicero also has 2 current gen consoles. So there's nothing unique or special about us.
There is,
in our ability.
We're pretty amazing.
Well,
I like us.
That being the case, there was nothing. We didn't get these consoles given to us. Microsoft didn't come and email us, or some PR person didn't email us. Reef, you didn't get yours from Miyamoto or what or Kojima or somebody. Nobody hit you up and was like, yo, hey, take this PS5. But we got them, right? We got them. So if you want one, right? If you want to play Resident Evil Village in a maximum hotness, and you don't have a console, you just didn't want it enough. You didn't want to play that game enough. And that's not a Capcom problem. That's a you problem. Right? The game is out and available, and it could be as dope as it could possibly be, but they sat around and they're listening to you. They don't want, the haves, they're have-not people. Capcom trying to sell it to everybody, but they could have made a better game and said, look, if you want this game, you be out here like Kaz Hirai and be like, yo, you'll get a second job for this. You know what I'm saying? You got to be built for this. You're not built for this Resident Evil Village life. If you can't go out there and secure yourself a console, you didn't want it enough.
Wow, the power of the cell processor. Come back.
Yep.
All right.
Racing.
I'm calling it. Cicero, you almost won when you used the word next geniest. That was a pretty good made up word, but Shareef's got this in the bag. I didn't even think about the angle of nobody's got the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Yeah. So I thought that was a good angle to bring, and I think that won me the argument. All right. Next on the docket, gentlemen, a rumor has been reported that Microsoft is planning to raise their revenue share to 18% for both the Microsoft Store, so PC, and for Xbox developers, which basically means that the developers of the video games would get 88% of the revenue share versus 12% to Microsoft, okay? So the debate is, will this help them compete more, or does PlayStation and Steam have too much of the market share respectively? So Steam for PC, PlayStation for console. Cicero, we're going your way first.
Yeah, it will help them more. Sure. Because it will incentivize people, especially indie devs where each of those dollars really makes a tangible difference. It will incentivize them to focus on Microsoft first, because they're incentivized to sell as many copies of their game on Microsoft, the Microsoft family of consoles as possible. I think this is great. I think what they're probably doing, Microsoft, and this is probably really great. I'm not positive that this is what's happening, but if I were running things, this is what I'd be doing. I would give you 88% on a game right out the store, or I give you 90% in Game Pass. And I just say, hey, you put the game in Game Pass and we'll guarantee X amount at 90%. And, you can have that, or you can put it out and get, put it in our store and see what happens at 88%.
Shareef, rebuttal?
Or maybe they do it the other way around.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm not a fan of this. I mean, Microsoft does not need to do this. First of all, the industry has been pretty standard at 70-30. So they would actually be making a pretty big move, and they don't need to incentivize developers to be on the platform, because guess what? Microsoft just spent billions and billions of dollars buying a bunch of damn developers, right? So they already have their places to make their AA and their first party games that'll be coming out in the next 2 or 3 years. That's when you'll start to see those Bethesda exclusives and all that stuff. They don't have to incentivize devs to be on there, because they're spreading Game Pass everywhere, and devs want to be everywhere, right? So they're not going to ignore Microsoft, right? It's not like they're going to be if you don't give us more than Sony and Steam, we're not going to develop for you. That's just not going to happen. So I feel like Microsoft is doing something that they don't really have to, and I don't think that they're going to get the return from it that they think that they will, to offset, them giving that percentage back to the developer. So it kind of goes against, I feel like, a lot of their recent moves.
Yeah, I think I can see where you can see that, but I also think that this is going to be the moves that they have been making since Phil Spencer took over, was to prioritize the gamers and to make Microsoft a destination, or the Xbox platform, whether it be via the consoles or just via Game Pass, and what that allows you to use. Game Pass Ultimate now is basically 3 platforms. It is consoles, it is PCs, and it is now in the cloud with your browser-based games. Browser is still up in the air, but it's there, and it will get better. And I think what Microsoft is trying to do is continue to find ways to incentivize gamers to choose the Microsoft platform, the Xbox platform for gaming, and for also developers to look at the Microsoft platform to release their games. And whatever the case may be. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not 90% on Game Pass, right? Because Game Pass is a destination, right? So maybe it's not 90% on Game Pass. Maybe it's 88% to gamers or to developers just in the marketplace, and maybe it's 85% via Game Pass, right? And so you can take a bet on yourself and just say, I'm going to put it in the store. I believe in this game. This game is going to do incredibly well. I'm going to make that money. Or you could take that upfront money from Microsoft via Game Pass and just say, you know what? A bird in the hand is worth three in the bush, or whatever it is that old people say that I'm now a part of. And just take that money and keep it moving, because this is what Game Pass has done. And it is, the people are there already in Game Pass, and I want to be where the people are.
All I heard you say
Microsoft's
was I was wrong, and I agree with you. You are wrong.
Yes. I was wrong about that one.
That's all you got to say. Nope. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sound bites do not win arguments, sir. Right.
That's the clip.
Right. I was wrong.
That's my new texting notification.
Shareef was right.
Shareef, maybe a losing battle, but I thought that was a valiant effort. Do I just give it to Cicero because he kind of took the easier route because it is good for them, or does Shareef at this point? Oh,
well,
I kind of want to skunk Cicero all day today, though. That'd be kind of fun.
All right, let's go. Yeah, I want the new Game Plus.
No, I'm gonna give it to Cicero, and only because he added the Game Pass element. I think if you, I think he refined his second refinement of that argument, bringing it down to the 85% for like Game Pass. Giving them a lower value. I think that could potentially be a good idea. I don't think it's going to happen. But plus nobody knows how Game Pass works. It's just like magic. It's like the Game Pass Twitter account just tweets out something and it just happens. Anyway. All right, guys, get your Xbox thinking caps on. So we already talked about Among Us getting DLC for PlayStation exclusive, the Ratchet and Clank suit. So what DLC should come for the Xbox version? What would be the best like cosmetic, weapon, or whatnot that you would like to see as something in Among Us? Shareef, we'll go your way first.
Well, so I already talked about how I feel like the visual part of it isn't that good. I think what they need to focus on is audio. So, if I'm running around like Master Chief, fine. Give me some voice lines. You know what I'm saying? Give me some clips from those Halo games. Give me the sound of that pistol. Maybe give me a little warthog to like driving around with those noises in it. Like, I feel like I would love if they like added like some actual like audio DLC so that like it's like a little more like distinctive than just how they look. So like that's what I'd like to have as some DLC there on Xbox.
Okay. Different angle, unexpected. Cicero, rebuttal.
My DLC looks like this. It's not characters, skins. It's not voice stuff, which is, unique angle. It's settings, right? So let's use some iconic settings. Let's use some Halo settings as a location. Let's use some Gears of War settings as locations. Hell, let's use Viva Pinata's island, or we've got the new Perfect Dark game releasing soon. What a great tie-in. Some, a Perfect Dark area would be to the game releasing real soon. So you have those Among Us, classic Among Us characters that are nondescript with, goofy hats or whatever, but playing in very iconic Xbox locales.
Why is your audio DLC better, Shareef?
Because imagine two Among Us players get together and one is trying to kill the other. They get into one of those Gears of War 2 chainsaw battles, and you hear the sound of Marcus Phoenix screaming as he slices one of the other Among Us players that, they might be dressed as as one of the locusts or whatever, screams as he's slicing them in half. Like that, I feel like a lot of sounds from games are iconic, and I feel like that they could really incorporate that in. I mean, the map thing is cool, but I think integrating some of those maps into 2D won't really translate as well. Like if I'm going around like Blood Gulch or or like the first level in like Halo, but it's in 2D, I don't think that'll really translate that well.
So people, when they talk about Among Us, talk about how much fun it is, talk about how you run around, you do all this stuff, and then in between you're yelling at each other and how manic and crazy it is. The one thing they don't talk about are sound effects. They're not talking about different audio files as people are playing. In fact, you're quiet and you could hear things, but you don't hear anything. You just hear, the goofy sound effects of someone being murdered, and that, and that's it. And then the thing for the meeting. As for these maps, what you want the maps to be is, you don't want them to be 1-to-1 recreations or even 1-to-6 recreations of these places. You want them to be versions. You want them to be iconic enough to be recognizable for what they are, but in the Among Us style. So you want the very cartoony places, but you want them to be iconically reminiscent of these other places that are tentpole franchises from the Microsoft's catalog and from the Xbox catalog. And that's what you want. You don't necessarily want them to be in a 3D space. You just want this to be the same game that you've always played, but with a little bit of something to know that it's unique to the Xbox.
Any others, Shareef?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right.
He's trying to help you win, bruh.
No, I mean, I don't have to belabor the point. I feel like I explained myself successfully, so now it's up to Mike to figure it out.
All right.
So, let me take you back circa this afternoon. I'm typing this question
way
out.
back.
Right, way back.
I'm typing this question out, and Shareef, you were gonna pick the Master Chief helmet, and Cicero, you were gonna pick the chainsaw gun from Gears of War. Those are two DLC topics. One kills the enemies, and one is a cosmetic to wear.
And we surpassed your expectations.
D&D.
What you're saying. We surpassed.
You are learning D&D,
to
sir.
think that you would just do simple DLC. Sorry, Cicero. I'm giving the audio. I'm giving Shareef the. I do like the setting though, but I think he nicked you with just not being able to translate super well into a 2D space, and. Then he mentioned the chainsaw thing, and it was already in my mind. So, bam, I gotta give it to him.
My mind to your mind. My mind to your mind.
That is your judgment, but I'll talk about logistics till the day is gone.
I guarantee you, no one would recognize a 2D recreation of Blood Gulch, or a 2D recreation of the prison that Marcus Phoenix was in at the beginning of Gears of War. No one would recognize it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because you don't have trained eyes. You know.
All right, moving on before this gets nasty.
I wear glasses. I do have a pretty strong prescription as well. So.
Yeah.
Almost bifocals.
All right.
Close to bifocals.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty blind.
All right, guys. So,
Just so you know.
all right. Okay. Okay. Stop it. I'm trying to move on. Oh, I love it when you guys are on the show together. All right. You guys got to pitch me a game. Hitman developer IO Interactive is reportedly developing a fantasy game exclusively for the Xbox. And so, with IO Interactive's history and your knowledge of that development team, what type of fantasy game do you see coming to the Xbox? Also, they did say that it includes dragons, so try to fit dragons into your pitch. So
Okay.
all right.
You just threw that in there, and now I got to change my whole thing.
All right, fine. Whatever, fine. I mean,
Right.
Gotta have a
You got something better than dragons.
You literally could just say, "Oh yeah," and there's a dragon over there. I don't care.
Right. The dragon comes out of nowhere.
All right, Cicero, you're up first.
Oh, am I? All right. Well then, my pitch is it's been done, but they're gonna do it anyway. It's a present day steampunky version of like urban place, right? So alternate history, steampunky place with zeppelins and people with goofy steampunk goggles and all sorts of weird things, but people have powers and they ride dragons and dirigibles. So yeah, and they teleport. It's gonna be a blast.
I could tell
That's it.
Cicero thought this through. Shareef.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's only been one game for this TV series, which is one of the most popular and important TV series of the 2000s, I would say. Even though a lot of people did not like the final season, I would still consider it one of the strongest TV series ever created. And that's Game of Thrones, y'all. The only Game of Thrones game that I'm aware of was the Telltale Game of Thrones that did not turn out too well. It was okay.
Right.
But it was definitely one of their weaker efforts, like when you compare it to the other ones. Now, Game of Thrones has a lot of storylines which are going to like explore in these spin-offs. A lot of them are about deception, about stealth, about like sneaking into places, and that's what IO does the best with the Hitman series. I think that they don't have to focus on the big storylines in the TV series, but there's a lot of content that like they can mine, right? Where you have to infiltrate like a kingdom, or like you have to take out this like king, right? So it can kind of be like kind of a Assassin's Creed-ish kind of thing, but in that Game of Thrones kind of universe. I think that would be awesome. Come on, IO, make it happen. And you ride dragons, of course.
And there's dragons.
If you're of Targaryen blood. Yeah. You can ride that dragon.
I've never watched Game of Thrones, so
Oh my God.
I don't know what you're talking about. Cicero, rebuttal.
There you go. Those are things. Yeah, I want to play Shareef's game.
All right, so we're done.
That's when he said Game of Thrones. I was like, oh yeah, you know what?
What was the name of that?
If they could do it.
Sony had that, like, I think it was PS3, that like dragon game that they were demoing the motion control with.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Wasn't that Panzer Dragon?
No, it was a new game that they ended up canceling. It was like some kind of dragon flying. I gotta look this up because I've totally forgot.
So when I instantly saw the IOI, there's your
Lair.
Ready Player One reference.
Lair was the name of it.
There's your Ready Player One reference, Jelly, for you.
Yeah, there you go.
But when I was thinking about it, like, are they bringing back Scalebound? Because they said there was dragons, and Scalebound got canceled. So who knows? But
Right. Well,
Shareef
that's
gets another point. So
yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones would be great. Scalebound is also, since they've been talking about dragons, yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because that wasn't officially canceled, and they spent a lot of time talking about that dumb game. I hope it's not. Yeah. I hope it's not Scalebound, because I just at no point was I excited for that game.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking of. I think if I remember.
Scalebound.
Yeah.
Like, I think that
was an Xbox exclusive.
Xbox.
Yeah, it was the Xbox. That was
oh
the
no,
Xbox
no,
game.
that's a different.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I just remember the guy at the E3 conference with the PS3 controller, like going around like that, because at that point everybody was trying to copy the Wii, so they were like, "Whoa, you can move around and control."
And you know what, that actually brings up a point that you made earlier in the show that I wanted to ask you about, and that is, you were talking about how Returnal doesn't utilize the haptic feedback on the PS5 controller, and I'm wondering if that controller gimmick is going to fall down the same rabbit hole that all of these gimmicks fall down, right? The motion controls on the Wii were used very infrequently, and most games had an alternative to the motion controls because they just weren't really great and conducive to playing lots of the games. I'm thinking about like the Zelda games, and then you had Kinect on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. You had motion controls, the 6-axis controller on the PS3, the touchpad on the PS4. The controls for the Switch with with their haptic feedback, like all of those things have fallen by the wayside. Do you think that the PS5's haptic feedback in the controller is also going to be one of those things that?
Well, I think those were different.
Gimmick?
I think those were different situations. So the Wii, the technology just wasn't that good. Like it wasn't what they promised. It wasn't like 1-to-1, like you could actually move stuff around. It was that waggle stuff. So that was different. And I think Kinect on its own was good. I think bundling in is what killed it, because they were trying to force it. I think that this is like something that's already in the controller. And again, you don't have to do a lot with it. Just make it so when I'm walking on a different surface, I can feel it in the controller. Or if it's raining, which it does in the game, like I can feel the little raindrops like I do in like Astro. Just copy Astro's Playroom is what I'm saying, right? I'm not asking for some like game changing or genre defining thing. Just make it so that there's different textures and surfaces and you can feel it. So no, I don't think it'll fall by the wayside. I mean, I'm not a dev. I don't know how hard it is to include these things in the development of a game, because I think that's another thing that really hampered on the Kinect and the Wii was you had to design the game from the ground up to fit this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I don't think you have to do that with the PS5 with the controller. I don't anticipate that you do, at least.
Yeah. I don't have that answer.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that third-party developers would just skip it because then they would have to do it for both consoles. It's just another extra step, but who knows?
Also,
I've heard some good things about Returnal's haptic feedback, so I was going to mention it earlier, but I think further down in the game, you're going to feel a little bit more. So
it's not that they don't use it at all. I'm just like, this is like PS5 exclusive. Like, it should use it excessively. Is what I'm saying. It should be a showcase for it. Right.
Yeah.
And like also, so the Dragon game I was thinking of was Lair, and it did come out. I thought it never came out, but it was released for a PS3.
Well, there you go.
That's what I was thinking of.
Well, if you guys have a PS3 and Move controllers, check out a Dragon Flight Sim.
Right, that no one remembers.
All right, last fight for the day, the night. Weekly fights, we're giving you a bout. Today you got Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition versus Resident Evil Village. Which one will sell more copies? It is Shareef's turn, so you're gonna take which one you think, and then
for sure.
Cicero is gonna have to answer or argue the other one. That's how you say words.
No question, Mass Effect will sell more copies. You have the nostalgia for like the older people, and you have the like newer folks. Like, what is this game that everybody keeps on like talking about? Plus, it's a Bioware game, right? And people still, you know, besides Anthem, right? I think that like people still have a pretty positive stuff with a Bioware, with Dragon Age and like all that stuff. So and people do love these games that have these like romantic like elements to it. I think that that's a big reason why like Hades has been such like a big hit. So it kind of hits all these things. Also, it's a shooter, right? It's in space. Obviously, like very, very, very like popular things. While Resident Evil is good, I'm excited for it. A lot of people don't like horror games, right? So this is only going to sell to people that like that genre, and it's going to sell well. But it doesn't have the same breadth that a game like a Mass Effect does, you know. So I think that Mass Effect got it with this.
Cicero.
Well, before I answer this question, I have to ask a question. Are we talking just about May? Are we just saying for the month of May, or are we saying overall all time?
Overall. Reason being is because Resident Evil comes out early May and end of May is Mass Effect. So Mass Effect wouldn't have a lot of May to make that argument fair, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, then overall, the reason that Resident Evil is going to be the one, because this is going to add a different aspect to Resident Evil, right? This is going to be the game. So like people have played the Mass Effect trilogy and it's going to sell incredibly well, right? And they're going to have that bit of nostalgia for the Mass Effect trilogy, and for people like Mike who never experienced, they'll be able to they'll have a chance to experience it. But what's going to happen with Resident Evil Village is Resident Evil Village is going to appeal to the non-horror gamer because of the multiplayer component. This is finally the Resident Evil game that you don't just watch your friend play, you play with your friend. And yes, scary things are scary, especially when you're all alone, but scary things are less scary when you've got your buddy watching your back. And you guys can be scared together, but you can overcome it together. And that's going to be the thing that really hits with the community. And it's just going to be this word of mouth thing. Like, think about The Matrix, right? When The Matrix came out, if you were old enough to go see The Matrix in the movies, right? You weren't necessarily hyped based on the trailer because you weren't sure what was going on in this Keanu Reeves movie, whatever. But then your friend went to go see it, and then he came home and was like, yo, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And then you went to go see it, and then you told other people. That is going to be Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village is the Matrix of Resident Evil games.
Shareef.
I'm partially speechless, but people really have a phobia of these games. Like, it's not like it's, oh, I'm not down with those. It's like some people just can't take it. Like some people, it's like an emotional reaction. It's a physical reaction. Like, I don't think just it being a really good scary game and even having that like multiplayer part, I think a lot of people are like, my heart can't take it. I was like that with Alien Isolation. I still have never beaten that game. Because I tried it and I played it for like maybe 4 hours. I played it for, a decent amount of time, but it just got too real. And there's a lot of people where it's like that all the time. So I think even if you advertise, hey, like there's a co-op part, you still got to go through it. You're still going to be tense. You're still going to be on like edge. There's going to be a lot of jump scares. There's going to be a lot of intentionally gory parts to it. You can't get away from that whether you're with somebody or not. It's a kind of like if you're going on a date. If your date is not into horror movies, it doesn't matter if you're with them. Like they're like, yo, I'm not seeing that. Like I'm not rocking with that because even if I can jump into your arms like a 80s movie, I don't want that to happen, you know. So I don't
Like
think that the
Scooby into
co-op stuff.
Shaggy's arms.
Yeah, so like I don't think that the co-op stuff, while like a cool, I don't think that's enough to get over that like visceral reaction that people that like some people have to this genre that they don't have to like a more mainstream shooter game like Mass Effect does.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, you know, people. I'm one of those people that are stress averse when it comes to horror films, right? And horror games. And I definitely understand that. But what I do also understand is how much the people that love this Resident Evil franchise love this Resident Evil franchise, and I believe that they love it so much that if their friends don't go out and buy the game, they will buy it for their friends. Right? They will find a way for this game to sell copies because they want to see more games like this. More like, you know, Left 4 Dead. So I don't love horror games, right? At all. I don't play them at all, but I love Left 4 Dead. I love Left 4 Dead. I love Left 4 Dead 2. I love the fact that that I can be scared with my friends and then it's not as scary. It's still stressful, but it's not as scary. I think that Resident Evil, that Capcom may be onto something where they're going to have a Left 4 Dead style of cooperative game that will really hit with not only their community, but that community. You know, this is a game about zombies, right? And one thing about zombies is zombies infect everything. And I'm saying that the community is going to be like zombies and infect their friends with copies of the game.
By buying them copies of Resident
By
Evil.
buying them copies of Resident Evil.
Interesting argument.
To get
So,
their friends,
you know,
right? To
man,
get their
so
friends.
you're getting
to play
over
this
the
game
phobia,
for,
saying they're not going to play it, but it's still going to count as a sold copy because
well,
someone else bought
but
it for
they're gonna buy the game, and the person that they buy the game for will be guilted into playing the game because their friend bought them the game, right? And then they're gonna see how great that game is, and they're gonna be infected, and they're gonna want to do the same thing. Instead of brains, it'll be exchange to go and get new games, right? Get games,
Mike, please,
right?
Mike, please.
I gotta call it. I almost should give it Cicero because he compared Resident Evil to the Matrix.
Exchange.
Cicero, I'm sorry. I believe the one argument that you should have went for is that Mass Effect would be going into Game Pass sooner rather than later. Because of the EA Play deal. I think if you played that part, I think I would have given it to you. That's what I was thinking as you were arguing. Although I really love.
Interesting point.
Expect maybe a Resident Evil 8 present on your doorstep coming here soon because I'm exchange. All right, guys, we got about 8 minutes left to keep it under an hour and a half, so let's quickly go through the leaderboard. We're going to do top 5 mascot games. So these are mascots per consoles, whatever, you know, you got your Marios, you got your Zeldas, you know, the people that are the gaming characters that are top of the notch for each of the consoles, and are considered the mascots. Pick 3 of them and we'll dwindle it down to 5. Shareef, we'll start with you, man. Go ahead.
Are these only modern consoles or are these like any of them?
Any consoles, just a mascot game for that console specifically.
Okay. I mean, do I just take the easy ones? I guess.
You know,
I'm not gonna take the easy ones. I'm gonna throw some ones out there that I don't think people would get, just to keep it interesting. Bonk.
Okay.
We're picking Bonk. TurboGrafx 16. Good old Bonk. We got
Bonk. Okay.
Bonk.
How do you spell that? Is it just B-O-N-K?
B-O-N-K, man.
Simple and to the point. Good old
hang on, I'm writing down notes.
That climbs walls with his teeth.
Yeah.
um,
I had a friend in high school. We called him Bonk. Shout out to Troy, man. His name was Bonk. When we got measured for our caps and gowns, like everyone had their head measurements. So most people were like 7.5, 7 and a quarter, maybe a couple of 7 3/8. He was 8 3/4.
So he was Bonk incarnate. All right, so we got Bonk.
We got Bonk. We have the original Sega mascot before Sonic. Back when Sega was rocking out the Sega Master System and stuff. Alex Kidd.
Alex Kidd.
I used to love me some Alex Kidd games
Double D.
back in the day. Great platformers.
Is it Double D or is it 1D?
Huh?
It's 1D. It's 1D, right? For Alex Kidd.
What you say?
1D or Double D?
2Ds. 2Ds.
2Ds.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. He was the original Sega mascot, but then when Sega of America wanted to take Nintendo down, they had to drop him and get someone more cool, more tuned. So they went and got Sonic.
Okay, so since we're doing games, is Bonk the game as well?
Bonk. So Bonk's Adventures was
It's called Bonk's Adventure.
It was a video game.
Okay.
There were like 3 of them, but he was the flagship for the TurboGrafx. He
And
was
then
like
Alex
in all
Kidd,
for
Alex
Sega.
Kidd is
Alex Kidd
Yeah.
in Wonderland, or
just Alex Kidd, right?
Alex Kidd.
As the video game. Okay.
Well, I mean, like he was in video games, so he had Alex Kidd in Miracle
Right.
World and a couple other.
in Miracle World. That was the first
In
one.
Miracle World. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're doing specifically games. So
Oh, I thought we were just doing the
Okay.
mascots.
Doing the
No, I'm
mascots.
sorry.
Yeah, so
that was a misinterpretation. My fault. So
top 5 mascot games.
yeah,
Yes.
mascot
so-
game.
Is what
So they don't have to be the mascots of the system. Just games
they
with
just have to be
Just-
games with
yeah,
mascots.
I mean,
characters that are
like-
kind of like anthropomorphic
So, like,
mascots.
Well, no. You think of Sony. I think of Sony. They have a couple mascots like Spyro. They have even. I mean, you could even argue Kratos or like Crash Bandicoot. So
Right.
like one of those
Okay.
three. Like
Is
a
a Nathan
game
Drake
from-
a mascot?
Yeah, I would even call a Nathan
right,
Drake a
I'll-
mascot too. So like.
That'll be my third one. Then it'll be Nathaniel.
So which Uncharted
Uncharted
would you
2.
like? Uncharted.
Uncharted 2 Among
Okay.
Thieves for sure. Best one.
All right. So we have Bonk's Adventure, Alex Kidd Miracle World, and Uncharted 2.
Alex Kidd Miracle World Worker. That would be a great one. That'd be great. He'd be deaf and mute.
Yeah, I did really like 4 too, but like I think I'm gonna go with 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Cicero.
4 was incredible.
3 mascot
All right.
games.
All right. So I'm gonna go with the OG of all mascot games, and that is Pac-Man.
Okay.
The OG of all mascots. So when you were thinking this, I was thinking, oh yeah, Atari 2600 mascot. I would call Pac-Man the
Yeah,
Atari 2600
I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
mascots. Yeah. Terrible game, but it was the best that you could get.
Yeah, Miss Pac-Man
Yeah, it
was
was,
the
it was,
best.
it was a bad
bad.
port, but yeah.
Yeah. Next mascot game would be you know what? I'm gonna go with Super Mario 64.
Okay.
Because that was transcendent. And then next mascot game I'm gonna go with Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
For oh yeah, oh wait a minute. No, Banjo-Tooie.
Banjo-Tooie. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The better
Pretty
the better
solid
one.
name.
The one that
Pretty solid name
Yeah.
for a sequel.
Okay. For me, it was the first video game I ever bought with my own money. So Sega, we're talking Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Ooh, Sonic 2. Yeah, that's what I'm
Sonic
talking
2.
about. Chemical Plant Zone. Yeah.
Yep, that was the first one that I bought with my own money. So we'll go
Great
there.
game.
I gotta throw in the original Crash Bandicoot. I love that
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
And I can't have this list without Halo 3, guys. Sorry, we're throwing. Master Chief is definitely one of the mascots of Xbox. So
I kind of want to fix. I mean, now that I know it's games, I do kind of want to fix mine a little bit.
Okay, if I'm allowed, no worries. You are allowed. That's fine.
Okay,
you want to keep Uncharted 2?
Yeah. I want to keep Uncharted and Bonk. I want to replace Alex Kidd and Miracle World with Donkey Kong Country.
I like it.
Solid upgrade.
Yeah,
solid upgrade.
Yeah, because Donkey is one of those original mascots as well. Not as old as Pac-Man, but
sure. All right, let's dwindle this down. Reef, one choice from your 3 that makes the list.
Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country is on the list. Cicero.
Oh, what were my 3? Oh, Pac-Man.
Pac-Man makes the list. Okay. For me, Halo 3 has to make the list. Just because Master Chief, man.
Yep.
He finished the fight.
He did. So from what we have left, Bonk's Adventure, we have Uncharted 2, we have Super Mario 64, we have Banjo-Tooie, Sonic 2, and Crash Bandicoot. Cicero, do you want to make an argument for another one of yours?
Super Mario 64, I'll make an argument for, sure.
Shareef, do you think Mario 64 should be on there? Sorry, Mario 64?
It's a tough, man. It's a very important game for sure. Yeah. Like it proved out 3D.
But is it better than Super Mario Odyssey? I don't know.
It is definitely not. No, it is not. No, it is not. That's the thing is it's been surpassed by almost everyone after it. Like
it has.
So
100%.
It's hard for me to put it above some of these other ones. I would make an argument for Sonic 2 to be on.
Sure.
Okay. I think Sonic 2 overall, based on Shareef's argument, I agree with him because it holds up better than Super Mario 64.
Yes.
Just because it's 2D.
Mario 64 does not hold up well.
No.
It looks like most early polygon.
Yeah, it's really it's really hard to play even on the All-Star collection because they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they did absolutely nothing. I was
All right, so last spot on the list, we still have Super Mario 64, we have Banjo-Tooie, we have Crash Bandicoot, Uncharted 2, Bonk's Adventure.
I think Bonk has to fall off because it seems like you've never heard of it.
I could never make an argument for it.
Bonk was huge, man. Come on.
Bonk was that dude. TurboGrafx.
You got to go fire up a
emulator,
man.
I'll get on
it. Go play some Bonk. So like that'll fall off.
Cicero, what are your thoughts on Uncharted 2?
Uncharted 2, so you know what? Dirty little secret, I've never played Uncharted 2. I only played Uncharted 4.
Okay.
And I had a blast with that game. 4 is
really good.
Yeah, I had a blast with that game, and I know that Reef played Uncharted 4, and if he still picked Uncharted 2, then I'm willing to say Uncharted 2 deserves to be on the list as well.
I'm with you. I played Uncharted 1 and 2, and I love Uncharted 2. So
it's great.
All right, we got our list. We have Donkey Kong Country, Uncharted 2. We have Pac-Man, potentially the original mascot. We have Sonic 2, and we have Halo 3. Guys, I think that's a good leaderboard.
Mascot list with no Mario, man. Unbelievable. But
it's crazy.
It's what it is. That's how it shakes out.
Yeah,
that's why you got to tune in,
Screw
baby.
Nintendo. Sonic wins.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Sonic has won the 30-year fight.
Right. All right, guys, this has been Test Your Might. Shareef, once again, you came on short notice. Everybody follow him at ShareefJackson.com, as well as Shareef Jackson on all of his socials as well. He came on last minute. He's a great friend. Took over for me for paternity leave when I was off the podcast for a while. So definitely go show him some love, as well as Cicero. Yeah,
go play Idle Champions. Right, yeah, as well as me. Go play Idle Champions, and while you're playing Idle Champions, you can listen to the latest episode of the Discovery Debrief podcast, which has come back.
Yes,
really?
I did see that. Check that out as well.
Yeah, you guys are back. Yeah. Sweet.
We are back for one episode. One episode is in. Hopefully, there will be more to come.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I gotta go listen to that.
All right, I will definitely put that in the show notes, listeners. Check out Discovery Debrief, Cicero's other podcast about all things Star Trek on CBS All Access. Well, actually, sorry, Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus.
Sorry, excuse my French.
Don't you dare.
All right, we'll be seeing you guys later. Check us out at the 90s First on all social networks. This has been Test Your Might number 31 for Shareef, for Cicero. My name's Mike, and we're out.